Lori, and this is What's It Worth with Dr. Lori. I'm here with Erica.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Good morning. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Tell me where you're from.
I'm from here in Lancaster.
Well, thanks for bringing in your silverware set.
Yeah, sure.
Your flatware set.
Flatware.
Flatware, silverware, because it lays flat. It's flatware.
Sure.
Right? Sure.
Yeah.
All right, tell me a little bit about how you acquired it.
We were cleaning out my parents' closets and
Treasure hunting in the closet.
hunting, and we came across this in my dad's closet. We had no idea it was.
Was there a
in
mom's
existence.
closet and a dad's closet?
Yes.
This ends up in dad's closet?
Yeah.
How come?
We don't know.
Well, I guess most of us would think, oh, it's not unusual that it would end up in mom's closet.
Right.
Right? Because we associate that.
Maybe he had more room.
He had more room. Yeah, because she has more clothes.
She had more stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. So you find this, and you and what brothers and sisters are looking through, and you're saying, wow, I wonder what's what. So I've got these, and did you count them?
I did not.
Why wouldn't you count them?
I have.
Haven't you seen all of us appraisers were always 1, 2, 3, 4. We're counting. It's very important to have a complete set. So complete set or collection value will increase value of a piece. So counting becomes relatively important. So let's count the dinner forks, because typically they're indicative of what you would have: a service for 8, a service for 12, that kind of thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've got 8 of those. You usually have more spoons. In a set like this, you typically have more teaspoons, because people will say, oh, you lost a teaspoon, or a teaspoon got connected with another set. So that's pretty typical as well. And then also the knives or the forks are usually the ones that will say, okay, we know how many we have. These boxes, the boxes are worth about $50. These boxes are almost always established or mass produced for a service for 12. So then you see 2, 4, 6, 8. So when you look at it, you go, okay. 99 times out of 100, all of you are going to have the same types of flatware services if they are in these presentation boxes. Now, you'll notice they're a little tarnished.
They are.
Right?
Yes.
So we weren't polishing them, which is actually a good thing, Erica.
Oh.
Yeah, you're surprised by that?
Yes.
It's a good thing if you don't over polish, because when you polish and polish and polish, you actually will take one particular layer of, or a braid or scratch off one particular layer of the silver, depending on what type of silver, whether it's silver plate or sterling silver. So let's take a good look at these. You also have some larger spoons here, which can be used for soups or services. What does that mean, services? Well, basically, if you're serving something, you want to have a larger spoon, like this one, if you're serving something. Maybe it's peas out of a serving bowl, or maybe it's mashed potatoes, that kind of thing, versus this particular spoon, which in fact would be a chowder or a broth spoon, a spoon for a soup that has some weight to it, right? So a soup like a chowder, a clam chowder, maybe a heavy tomato or a potato soup, that kind of thing. But let's talk a little bit about what else is in here, because it's relatively interesting what you have here in this particular box. There's more than one set in the box.
Okay.
Okay, and we just noticed that from this. And here's how you can actually tell. Look for shape, but also look for style. And then look at the bottom here, this area where my pinkies are, and you can actually see, again, that they are 2 different patterns. Do you see it?
I do, yes.
Okay. Once you take a look, most people don't take a look.
No.
Most people don't even ever look. You're like, oh, it's in there, it must all be part of the set, right?
That is exactly what happened.
Okay, so that's what you're looking at here. You're looking at 2 different pieces in that particular way. Well, let's stick with our fork, because our fork is going to give us the most information. The majority of this service for 8 has this same pattern. Now, when you start to look at flatware, you'd be surprised that flatware really relates to, like any other art antique or collectible, it relates to the time period in which it was made. So in the 1950s, you will see a lot of these elements that relate to flowers or images from the sea. So sort of you'll have seashells and you'll also have flowers. Yours has what's called a stylized flower on it. And that's what you have throughout this entire pattern. But let's look a little bit at the back. So if you look at the mark is going to tell you a lot about the quality of the piece, right? Now we know the box, and the box is worth about $50, as I said before. They're good to have. A box keeps it all in one particular place. It's nice for presentation. It could sit in the dining room. Like, where did the box sit? Or had you never seen the box out in your parents' house?
No, never.
So it was never out. It was just in the
closet.
In the closet
under
all these
dust.
years. Under dust all these years. Okay. So basically, when I take my 10-time magnification loupe and I look at this to magnify it, what I see here is W.M. Rogers, which is William Rogers. There's a star, and then there's Other hallmarks that are the letter I and the letter S. Mean anything to you?
No.
Doesn't mean anything to you. All right. Well, it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people because most of you have these. IS, the International Silver Company, and of course this particular William Rogers is again another element that indicates that this is silver plate.
Okay.
Okay, it is not sterling silver. Now, fortunately, you'll notice here that if you look at this candlestick actually says weighted sterling, indicating that the candlestick is in fact sterling silver. Gives you a difference between, of course, this silver plate and of course the sterling.
Okay.
Look for sterling, right? 925 parts per thousand pure. That's what you're looking for, and that's what you want to see. Plated pieces will not be as valuable as sterling. Okay? So, now, a couple of other things about your set. Your set is really pretty common for the 1950s into the 1960s. When were your parents married? Any
70.
idea? 70. Okay, so this might have been a gift or a grandparent's piece.
Oh, that's more likely.
Is that right? Could have come down from grandma or grandpa, right? It's made in America, right? And it's made around the latter part of the 1950s, early 1960s.
Okay.
That's based on the pattern, based on the style, and the fact that now we're getting into a time with technology where we are looking at silver-plated pieces because they're easier to care for. The sterling is worth more if you had a flatware service for 8 in sterling, but in fact, the silver plate will actually be easier to care for and you could use it much more commonly or much more frequently than, in fact, other pieces. So, what do you think it's worth?
$50 for the box.
And that's it? And just the fact that if you needed an extra fork, you can grab one?
And a different set, too, apparently.
Well, and there's a couple of spoons here for the other set, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, maybe these are probably the same type. These are also William Rogers, yeah. And these actually say, now these are a little different. So if we're looking at learning about silver plate, these actually give us a nice comparison. So here's an example. These over here said IS, right, indicating that they were silver plated. But this one actually says AA. AA indicates just how good silver plated is.
Oh.
Right? So it's a base metal and then it's plated with silver, sheets of silver, the electroplating process. So this particular piece says AA on it, indicating that it's relatively high quality. You know, in school you got 1 A. If you got 2 A's or 3 A's, it's better, right?
Okay,
That's basically
sure.
how it works. So you have a whole one partial set and then one full service for 8 of silver plate.
Okay.
Dating from, as I said, the late 1950s, early 1960s, and value on your whole set about $200. Add $50 for the box, right? Sure. And then some people will do things like this. They'll put a piece of chalk inside the box. And people say, well, why do you do that? Or they'll wrap each piece in saran wrap or another kind of plastic wrap to avoid, of course, this deterioration or this, of course, tarnishing. So chalk does work where you put a piece of white chalk, you know, like school teacher chalk, you know, on the blackboard, into a box like this. So you put it into the box and then you can go from there and it won't tarnish as quickly, or you can wrap them all. But wrapping them all, I always say you're never going to ever use them if you're wrapping them all. You're not going to unwrap every single fork, every single knife. So that's basically what you're looking at here. Some different types of pieces have fallen out of favor. You say, well, what do you mean? Well, by the 1950s and 1960s, we're not using fish servers, right? You can see what a fish server looks like. Or we're not using some of these fruit spoons with the slots. You're not using some of those very, very high-style, elite pieces of flatware anymore. It's kind of down and dirty, right? You're using a fork, you're using a spoon, maybe you're using a soup spoon, you're using a teaspoon, and you're done. That's what you're looking at. Surprised? $250 in the closet?
It's better than nothing.
Not better than nothing, right? Well, it's worth more than the dust that you found, right?
Right.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Lori, and thanks for joining me for What's It Worth with Dr. Lori. See you next time.